You know what? This is the Father's approach to forgiveness. Is it yours? Okay, now remember, to get to this place in Psalm 103 and here, there was resolution. There was no doubt that the trespasses were resolved. In other words, there was ownership, there was confession, there was guidance, seeking of guidance, and there was fixing it. But then afterwards, after that's all done, there was a complete release by the Father not to bring it up again. It was finished with, dropped into the depths of the sea as far as east is from the west. Are we doing that? Oh no, we're ready to bring it up at a drop of a hat. Anything and everything, if you're in a marriage, anything you've ever done and ever would do will be ready to be used against you in the court of fighting anytime it comes up. Well, remember when we first got married, remember 5 years ago when you did, remember? Oh my gosh, nothing ever gets let go. And you say, but I repented of that. We resolved it, but it wasn't released. Okay, you have to let it go. If it's resolved, you have to let it go. Never to be brought up again. That doesn't mean you don't keep the information for future protection, but you do not bring it up and throw it in another person's face. That was resolved. So if it's happening again, if something comes up again, treat it like it's new. Don't bring up the other stuff. Or maybe, and most of the time when people bring up the old stuff, it's not because it's exactly the same. It's just piling on. Well, you did this, remember you did that. Now look at all these terrible things. Well, then why are you still with me? You want to fix this or not? Sorry, that's very red of me, but you know. Okay? And for those of you that watch this, what does he mean that's very red of me? Well, it's a personality test with colors, but whatever. Okay? But that's really the bluntness of it. Look, if you want reconciliation, you can't just keep throwing stuff in people's faces that they did in the past. Now, of course, if you're having stuff thrown in your face that you never resolved, well, then that's on you. Resolve it. Maybe you never owned it. That's why it keeps getting thrown back in your face. Maybe you didn't do anything to fix it. So your first question when it gets thrown in your face is don't get mad at them. First ask the question, are they doing this because I never really resolved this? Or is it just because they're not letting it go? Because maybe you think you resolved it, but they don't. So you may want to sit down and say, I notice you keep bringing this back and throwing it in my face. What can we do to resolve this finally? Because I'm guessing, give them the benefit of the doubt instead of saying, well, you just won't let it go. Well, maybe they're not letting it go because it really never resolved. You thought you did, but they didn't. And maybe at the moment of the fight and the conflict and the resolution moments, they just didn't feel like fighting anymore, so they gave in and made you feel like it was resolved. And that can happen. But then it wasn't really resolved, though. All right, so we want to be careful with that.